That's right. Yeah, we have a close race brewing in Florida, a little closer than people thought. Marco Rubio, of course, the Republican incumbent, ran for the nomination against the challenger, Patrick Murphy. As you see, it's fluctuated a good bit. A lot of polls have been done in the state of Florida. It's obviously a swing state for both the presidential race and the Senate race this year. Marco Rubio hanging on to about a 3-point lead. President Barack Obama was actually in Florida the other day campaigning for Patrick Murphy, campaigning for the down ballot, saying things like Hillary Clinton can't afford to have a Republican Congress. And this is a state that Barack Obama thinks that the Democrats can make some headway with Patrick Murphy challenging Marco Rubio, albeit still a 3-point race. Moving to Pennsylvania, Pat Toomey, the Republican incumbent, has struggled mightily. As you can see here, it was a back-and-forth race through September, through October, but right around the beginning of November, a huge drop-off for Pat Toomey. Katie McGinty with almost a 4-point lead approaching tonight. Going to be a problem for Pat Toomey to come back here. This is looking like it's going to be one of the most significant states to fall towards the Democrats. That will not bode well for Donald Trump as he tries to make that state red in the general election. In Missouri, Roy Blunt versus the Democratic challenger Jason Kander. Roy Blunt, the Republican incumbent. Very close race. Not as much data has been accrued from this state, not as many polls done, but it's been a constant Roy Blunt lead, although it's gotten tighter here as we've gone down the stretch. About a 1.5-point lead for Roy Blunt right now. This is a critical state if the Republicans want to keep the Senate. The way it's shaping out, both parties will have at least 47 seats, and this is one of those swing states that the Republicans have to keep, as the Democrats, as you'll see, or as you just saw with Pennsylvania, will probably have one in the bag there. We'll get a 48th seat automatically with Pat Toomey about to lose his seat to Katie McGinty. So this is important for Roy Blunt to keep in a traditionally conservative state. Can't afford to lose that one. As we go to New Hampshire, this is a state that's become a swing state in the presidential election. This is a very close race between Kelly Ayotte, the Republican incumbent, and actually the Democratic challenger, who is the current governor of the state of New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan. And this race, as you can see, in September, it was a Maggie Hassan lead, but Kelly Ayotte has come back recently, had another swing towards the end of October, as you can see right there. But then Maggie Hassan has fallen back in the last couple weeks. And so as we approach the results that will come in tonight, Ayotte with a 2.5-point lead, another seat the Republicans really need if they want to maintain control of the Senate. Going on to North Carolina, once again, you're going to see the theme here: swing states in the general election, swing states in the Senate election. So Richard Burr, another Republican incumbent, you're seeing a theme there with Republican incumbents trying to maintain their position in Congress, in the Senate, going up against the Democratic challenger, Deborah Ross. Richard Burr, once again, a lot of polls have been done in this state. It is a critical state. And Richard Burr maintaining a 1 to 2 point lead as we come down the stretch here. Lots of fluctuation once again in this one. Deborah Ross did have a brief lead in October. Richard Burr kind of lengthened the lead as we went into November. And now as we're here on Election Day, very close race. Another seat that, if it turns blue, will probably mean a Democratic Senate. And then the final swing Senate state is in Nevada. Joe Heck versus Catherine Cortez Masto. This is an important seat. This is Harry Reid's former seat. He, of course, is not running for re-election in 2016. He is giving up his seat, and Joe Heck, the Republican challenger, actually has a slight lead going into Election Day. Will these polls hold up? We don't know. But what we do see is that Cortez Masto had a lead, lost the lead according to the polls down the stretch, and once again, swing state in the general election, swing state as far as the Senate is concerned for the Senate elections. And if you add up all this data, the Republicans need to hold all of these seats in order to win the Senate, to keep the 51-49 majority, because, of course, if there's a tie, the vice president will vote. There'll be the 101st vote. And if that's the case, if Hillary Clinton is elected president, then that vice president will be Tim Kaine. That vote will be a Democratic vote, which will not bode well in all likelihood for Republicans. So the Republicans really would like to have the 51-49 majority, as Hillary Clinton does have a lead in the presidential race. They don't want to have to rely on a vice president vote. They don't want to have to rely on Donald Trump coming back in the presidential race. We're going to head to commercial. You're watching election night coverage here on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.